This is part 4 of me watching all of Dragon Ball Z. If you haven't already, click the card or the description or something like that for the previous videos and the whole playlist on all the parts I've done so far with Dragon Ball. And by the way, if you see me looking down at any moment, I've written pretty much everything on my phone for everything I want to say. So, but I can't lie, this is honestly probably the most like hyped up an anime has been in a minute for me. I was super excited jumping in. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be titling this video because obviously the last one we did was on the Frieza saga, I believe. So yeah, Namek and then the Frieza saga. But I'm gonna be covering both of the Trunks and Android saga in this one video. The Trunks saga is pretty short and it directly leads into the Android saga, so I just figured I'd talk about both of these together. There wasn't really enough in each of the other one to just have one video, so it's one video for both. And then I'll be doing another video on the Imperfect Cell saga and the Cell saga and whatnot moving past this. Now with all that nerdy shit out the way, let's get into it. Now I'm not gonna waste your time. Trunks is the GOAT, like he is the MVP. Like I don't know how else to explain it. He really steals this entire section of episodes easily, like so easily it's not even funny. Now holy shit, I have not seen such a good intro for a character in a long ass time. The way he just appears and then completely slices up the big villain of the last saga almost, well, not almost, but instantly, is pretty fucking crazy. Like the dude that Goku spent 40 minutes slapping back and forth, in which destroying a whole planet was the result of, gets sliced like fucking butter basically on one of those like super hot knife videos. In my opinion, it's just impossible to have watched the Trunks saga and not just be super fucking hyped for what this character has in store, and also just not to be hyped about the character of Trunks, period. He's pretty fucking dope. I do also think him being a Saiyan with purple hair and the way they kind of hide his whole origin is really unique, and I honestly really did like it. I do wish though they would have kept his parents a bigger mystery. I do not hate that it gets kind of outed and pushed a little bit in this saga and then fully shown to everyone else in the next one, but I think Trunks being such a cool character, he would have been the perfect one to kind of hide their origins of for a good amount of time, just because everyone's gonna be so hyped and interested to know who his parents are. I think if you really pay attention to this first initial part, it's easy to assume that Bulma's probably the mother, but I think it would have been cool to kind of hide it, how like Naruto's dad being the fourth Hokage was hidden for like 300 episodes, or like even more than that, honestly. With Hokage being Naruto's dad and everything, I think it was just done a little bit later on, so they didn't really know ahead to plan that before. But obviously they know who Trunks' parents are the second he gets introduced, so I think they probably could have planted the seeds maybe and made the reveal a little bit more kind of worth it for the viewer, but that's just me. We obviously get Goku back, so that's super dope. I think they were able to manage bringing Goku, the main character, back into the show and introducing Trunks, this super cool like new main, maybe even side character, whatever, pretty well. I didn't feel like one overshadowed the other, which can happen a lot, especially when you have really cool introductions for characters and then also the MC coming back. You don't want one or the other to be overshadowed and kind of made irrelevant, so I think they managed both of them pretty well. Off rip though, I'm gonna be completely honest, this whole virus thing with Goku is just wow. I mentioned in the last part that this whole thing of pushing Goku to the side is a little bit annoying, how there's kind of coming up with reasons for him not to be there or not to be in fights and that sort of thing. And pretty much every single arc or saga or whatever so far has had a reason for Goku to not fully be in it. There hasn't really been something, I guess, other than the first initial Saiyan arc where Goku dies, but actually he does die, so he never even finishes that arc, but he isn't really part of, from beginning to end, an entire plot, So I don't know if it's just bad writing with the fact that the team is built up with so many different various power levels, there's not just one consistent level. It's like you have weaker people like Gohan and Krillin, and then you have more powerful people like Piccolo and Goku. So, or if it's just bad writing because Goku at this point was made just too powerful for the types of conflicts that he's being put in, so then they just end up making excuses for why the conflict has to kind of move around and Goku can't fully be there. Or if it's maybe just poorly written because it's older and it's showing its age. I don't know. I would hate for that to be the reason, because up to now I feel like Dragon Ball Z and even the original Dragon Ball has aged pretty well. But that's just an annoying, kind of frustrating little thing that I just, it kind of sucks in the show that they keep doing it. So I said it in the last video, I'm gonna say it again. I hope they stop doing this. They're probably gonna do it in the very next saga and every saga forever, but I'm hoping eventually it stops. But overall, the introduction to the Trunks saga is done super well. And then from there, we're given a timeline of 3 years basically for our characters to train up for an incoming threat from the future androids. So that gives us kind of the obvious training section of the show and of the saga, so that way we can move forward. And that essentially closes out from the Trunks saga. There are a few more things that do happen, but that's basically it. Now the Android saga really surprised me, because I remember when I was watching this with my nephew, I was kind of sitting there thinking, we just went from a huge exploding planet, this gigantic battle with Goku. How the fuck are these dinky, aluminum ass robots gonna really pose a threat to Goku now? It just seems kind of unrealistic, I guess. And that's when I realized to shut the fuck up and that anime makes no actual fucking sense. So just have fun. First off, I love that they're tying the Red Ribbon Army back to kind of the Android Saga now. It just ties up some things with the original Dragon Ball anime, and I think that's really cool. It's just more of a reason to watch the original Dragon Ball. You get a lot more payoffs in this one versus if you don't. Anyways, the boys meet up 3 years later, getting ready for their android attack, basically. Also, man, I'll be honest, Yamcha can't catch a fucking break. Vegeta took Bulma and then dipped and then never even fathered the child at all, so that's cool. And then Yamcha gets a fucking hole just like shoved in him. But just as the fight is starting, Goku's already like out. The disease has already kicked in, bro's already pretty much gone for the fight, so that's just super exciting. But that does give us a chance to see Vegeta's power level, and he jumps in to kind of push Goku to the side so Goku doesn't fucking, you know, become Yamcha 2 pretty much. And that is kind of the silver lining here. While Goku gets pushed to the side, we are able to see more of the other characters and what they're capable of. So it's not completely negative. It just kind of sucks with the circumstances that it isn't really, you know, they just keep making up stuff for Goku to be shoved to the side. So nonetheless, Vegeta gets Super Saiyan mode in here, so that's also pretty dope. He puts Android 19, I believe, in the dirt pretty easily. Android 20 does escape, but Piccolo pretty much takes him down also relatively easily. Now I will say the big twist of this saga being that these aren't the androids that Trunks originally spoke of is actually pretty dope. I do like it. It adds a lot of mystery to the plot and also kind of makes it a little bit more of a like, what the heck's going on? It just makes the plot feel a little bit more mysterious, you know? And I like that. Even though the plot wasn't simple to begin with, I do like that it's getting a little bit more complex as far as like, where do we go from here? And then Android 17 and 18 do end up waking up Android 16. I think that's the number for it. And the doctor's telling them like, hey, the 16's bad news. Dude is insanely powerful. He will kill everyone. And I don't know, like so far from what we've seen of him, he doesn't seem that insane. He obviously seems pretty powerful, but I don't know. I'm interested to see how powerful he actually ends up being, because if he's supposed to be a different level from what we've already seen of the androids, that's gonna be pretty wild. It's also hilarious because 16 and the other androids pretty much are only tasked with taking out specifically Goku. I mean, they can fight anyone who they want, but 16 especially only wants to fight Goku. And it's kind of hilarious because this all does end up stemming back to the fact that Goku defeated the Red Ribbon Army back in original Dragon Ball. So it's kind of hilarious to think that that small arc is making such huge impacts here in DBZ. And then eventually the Android Saga kind of comes off to a close. Everyone splits off, goes their own ways, and just kind of goes into training basically for the next saga. Goku's still healing off in the sidelines, and the androids are kind of taking off to go try to find him. So that's kind of where everything's leaving right now. And then Piccolo also goes and takes off to fuse with Kami, but he's still kind of keeping up the whole evil King Piccolo vibe with everyone. I think he's just kind of ashamed to drop that and turn into a normal person. So I think he's still trying to keep that up. And that is also pretty cool because that's again a reference to original Dragon Ball. When they first introduced Piccolo, we were able to kind of see him in that super evil vibe, and now obviously he's a lot different from that. With that said, that's the Android Saga. Now that I've kind of given an overview on everything, here's my full thoughts on both the Trunks Saga and the Android Saga. The Trunks Saga easily has some of the hardest first few episodes in any anime saga, period, just point blank. There's very few anime that have such good first few episodes for their arc, show, whatever. It's hard to compare. I totally see why people goat Trunks. It's pretty obvious. When a character looks this cool and then has such a super cool like debut first few episodes, it's impossible not to like them. I do also like them making the story a little bit more grand and higher as far as just like the stakes. I feel like the fight with Frieza and destroying a whole planet, the only real way to go up from this is like time travel or like galactic level conflict. And as I mentioned before, I was not super excited with the idea of Goku fighting these androids. It just seemed like a weird matchup having him fight like fucking Siri, you know, it just doesn't make sense. But I get it, these are Terminator level bad guys, so fine. Overall, I love these two sagas. I feel like it's hard not to enjoy both of them just because they give so much action and so much plot movement. It's just insane. With that said, I still think my biggest issue with these sagas and with the show in general is just how they handle Goku. They constantly push him away, and it's just more of an annoyance at this point than anything. Again, I'm not sure if it's just bad writing that wasn't, you know, isn't aging well or anything, or if it's just bad writing period, you know, if this is something that they were speaking of when the manga and anime was coming out, or if people are just barely noticing now, I'm not sure. I don't completely mind it because we are able to get a little bit more of a spotlight put on our side characters, so that is good. Sometimes characters like Naruto tend to overshadow the other side characters. You know, we don't get too much of like Shikamaru, at least in the beginning episodes, because we're so focused on Naruto. Now, like I said, I'll be making full reviews on the Cell Saga and Perfect Cell Saga and everything like that, so make sure you guys subscribe for that. But what do you guys think of the Trunks or Android Saga? Do you guys like it? Is Trunks your favorite anime character? Is there an anime character that has a more impactful, cooler looking debut? Let me know. Thanks for watching all the way through. I do appreciate it, and have a good one.